time can be such a wonderfully mystical illusion. I love the timeliness of things. I love when something finds me at the right time. I literally just had a conversation about this topic, so let's get into it. Fortune today, my friend. Fortune. The reversal of fortune shows itself as worthlessness in the face of pure creation. Hello. Why don't you just talk to me? I'm speechless. I don't know how to say that you feel too far away. I can't see you. I cannot always hear you, and I'm constantly doubting myself whether I'm feeling you or I'm just too desperate to feel something. Why don't you just talk to me? I am talking to you or not. I don't know. I want to. I just don't really believe that you would answer. I really want my mom to come in and give me a hug. But I know she won't. She's watching TV. She's tired, like yesterday and the days before. I don't think anybody is listening. I don't think anyone cares. Why don't you just talk to me? I'm scared. I can't see anything but darkness in this room. I don't even know if you exist. I'm just making this up so I wouldn't feel so alone. I should go out and talk to real people. But I don't want to be with me. Why don't you just talk to me? Because you're the only one I'm talking to. It's not normal. There's something wrong with me. I should forget about this, go out and make friends. Everyone's got a best friend. Why don't you just talk to me? I do. But I don't want to anymore. I don't like dissing other people, but my aunt was a born-again Christian, and her ideas about God somehow seeped into my system, even though I categorically walked out of the one and only Bible class that I've ever attended. Not of my pure will. And it was quite recently, maybe a few months ago, when I realized that I still don't fully believe that I'm allowed to talk to, I don't call it God anymore, but to Source. The force, the power, the sentient consciousness behind, beneath, below, underneath, and inside all of creation just feels too far away. It feels too much. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk to it, touch it, be like it. And one of the very few things that connects all of us is that we have creation power. No matter where we are creating from, we can replicate the totality of who we are. When you go to those manifestation classes and the law of attraction classes and all that business, they teach you a fragment of how manifestation works. They teach you what to do with your words. If they are conscious enough, they might even teach you what to do with your emotions. But I've never come across any secular things like that, where they actually tell you how your anatomy, biology, biochemistry actually looks like on a 15-dimensional scale. What you are doing to different layers of your body, different parts of your true anatomy, when you are invoking certain sounds, certain tonalities, certain words, when you're thinking about certain figures, when you see certain shapes, when you house certain emotions. And they definitely do not tell you that if your emotions are not a pure essence, but they are a slight mixture, then you are going to manifest exactly what you are and who you are and what you're housing, even if it's a mixture of two or more incredibly contradictory states of being, states of consciousness, states of existence. One of the other things that connects all of us, and I'm going to say it in Anuhasi Mashayahanic, but then I'm going to translate it into English. The English translation of it is quite alright, but if, hello gorgeous! The English translation of it is quite alright, but if the original Anuhasi Mashayahanic, because it comes from the word Mashatara, and I just said Mashatara so many times nowadays that I'm like, Mashayahanic, different word. So if the original Anuhasi Mashayahanic language speaks to you, it resonates something in you, then just go with that. Don't bother with the English. Tava entu aya. Tava atu aya. Tava akevo aya. Ueti reva. Everything emerges from source. Everything returns to source. Everything resides within source, now and at all times. You are not outside of God. You cannot fall out of love. You cannot be an outsider, because God is not outside of you. You are so inside of each other that you are almost inseparable. If I want to talk to a being that I cannot see, hear, feel, sense, touch, it's a very confusing space to dare to believe, to allow myself to believe that I'm not crazy. If my relationship or emotions towards source or existence itself or God or a higher power, a higher self, a version of myself is contradictory and houses very different, very distinct emotional feeling states, then my natural creation power is going to be split between those different conflicting thoughts, different hidden electromagnetic frequencies, because you can tell yourself that you feel one way, you can convince your body that it doesn't feel certain things, but you cannot lie about your electromagnetic makeup. You cannot fake vibration. You cannot bullshit the totality of who you are. And you cannot create anything that you are not. Fortune is a good word for it, because one part of it is obviously financial. but the other part has to do with luck. And luck is not something that is blindly, boldly finds you. It's deity. We're going to visit the deity planes. Oh my god, that is just the most gorgeous plane of existence. Luck is not something that is bestowed upon you by some power. It's a filter. It's a frame of mind. How wide your frame is, or how tunnel visioned you are, is defining the amount of energy, the amount of frequency, the amount of possibilities, opportunities, connections that you can take in, run through your system, and house within your biofield. Lucky people, fortunate people, rich people. Money is slightly different, because money itself is a control system made exactly for the reason to keep you in the same repetitive loop mindset. But the concept of money, the concept of being rich, is coming from the feeling state of being loosely, widely, and openly focused, instead of being fearfully, anxiously, frustratedly tunnel visioned. What stress does to you, what your own biochemistry does to you, is you can practice how to constantly fry your own circuits with stress hormones. If you are just a walking ball of fight or flight, you have practiced tunnel vision for so long that you are literally walking around with binoculars. You cannot fully see what's around you. You might be able to see far ahead, but only a tiny segment of reality. You're focusing on such a minute detail with such precision. Your literal biochemical electromagnetic frequencies are focused on something so tiny and minuscule that you are actively ignoring the totality of your own reality. If you keep doing your mantras, if you keep doing your meditations, and you feel good for 20 minutes, an hour, 3 days, but then you turn around and you just exist in this constant roller coaster of high highs, low lows, shit days, really good days, then the totality of your experience on this planet is not okay. It's not even stable. It's definitely not peaceful. And the first golden rule top tip of how to be happy is harmony, balance, peace. Without peace, when you are dragged in a million different pieces and bouncing back and forth, then what you are electromagnetically doing to your field is that it's never able to focus on something, and definitely not able to focus on something with a broad vision. You will be jumping from one minute task. What's happening with my mouth today? You will be jumping from one minute task from the next one at such high speed that you will never feel settled. You will never feel at home. You will never feel at ease. Even when something feels good, even when I finally found a healthy, loving, very, very giving connection, I still don't feel fortunate. I still don't feel like I'm at ease. I will always be looking for danger. I will always be on the lookout for the next thing to scare me, the next thing to run away from. And if that's what I'm looking for, then quite literally that's what I'm creating. That's what I'm inviting into my hologram. That's what I'm manifesting. The DTDH. What is DTDH? Tell me. Today I had a conversation about God and belief and faith, and even though I'm not calling it God anymore, I still, up to a few months ago, I was housing that belief, that consciousness, that I'm not allowed to just talk to the creative force behind everything. It was just too far away. That was something that is not me, that is completely outside of myself. Divine order, timing, harmony. Gotcha. I'm not going to remember a divine harmony, but I'm going to look it up for you in a second. I love the Morphogenetic version of it. And I lost my train of thought. The conversation about God, that I felt like that it's something outside of me. And it's a very different feeling state. You might have never felt like you are powerful. You have agency. We're going to talk about agency in, I think, in 2 days. You might have never felt like you are in love. You might have felt a version of love. You might have felt love plus pain, fear, abandonment. But you might have never felt something pure. I've tried when I was a teenager, child, to touch something that is as close to God as I could get with that mindset. But I've always felt like that it's not real, that I'm so naive, that I should just go out and play with other kids, even though I don't enjoy that. That the very fact that I'm having such a rich emotional life and a rich mental life is the thing that is holding me back and keeping me away from having human connections. I was incredibly scared that I'm not measuring up to the kids around me, and I just never felt welcome. I never felt at home. And the concept of it's not the version of just be okay with yourself and you are loved no matter what, you're worthy. Those are words. Those are the affirmations. The feeling state of actually being in love. Actually being at peace. Merging to the point when you know a being so well that you are physically inseparable. That's what going home is. That's what it feels like. First you start gathering your own memories. First you start merging with your own parallel lives. Then you start measuring. What is happening today? Then you start merging with your other incarnations on different time vectors, so in different time spaces, in past and future selves. Then you start merging with a soul level of identity where it's not just one singular intention, which is you, that's you and your incarnational versions, but it's more intentions or coming together. So your identity is becoming more of a village, more of a family, rather than just one singular focus of I am. Then you start expanding and start gathering more of your energies and more of your frequencies to the point when you start losing the sense of shape. You start losing the meaning of form. So you don't know yourself as a creature anymore. You start feeling yourself as a spherical identity. You become a sun. Then once you've exhausted your now you don't exhaust yourself, but once you've enjoyed yourself for long enough as a consciousness who just purely radiates energy as a sun with a singular focus on maybe an emotional state that could be the closest to it. It's just such peace that you don't have the desire to experience things. You're just happy being a sun. You're just at a peaceful state. What's happening today, honestly? You're just at such a peaceful state that it really doesn't matter for you if you're just going to stay like this for the next billion years. You're like, yeah, that's fine. I'm happy like this. I'm just gonna shine. And then you expand even further and further until you become so much of you that you're quite literally indistinguishable from everything else. That's when you go home. That's when you're source. Now, you've never been away from it. You might have been aware of a little bit smaller segment of it, but that consciousness who's just okay with being the same being for billions of years is still there. That's still part of you. It still exists. And you can find that creator inside you if you just peace the fuck out and expand your sense of awareness. Lose the boundaries of tunnel vision and ease into a very soft focus. It's still a sensible, sensitive, sentient consciousness. It feels more and more, but it's not locked into one version of self, one probability of reality. That's when you become fortunate. I tried to find the Shayahanic version of Divine Right Order. Just check it out, it's in the Deity thing. I'm not going to remember it, and I don't want to butcher it. And I cannot multitask, because multitasking is not that you're doing two things at the same time, it's that you're very consciously flipping between things. So, that's what I'm physically practicing now, to teach my body what it feels like to have very pure emotions and a more and more easy, peaceful, fluid, relaxed state of being and consciousness, to be able to house more and more of myself, more and more of my incarnational memory, and more of my senses and capabilities. And should you wish to do it together, then come and join us. I'm getting ridiculously excited about it because I started seeing different personalities, different set of skills. And if we come together and if we create something regular, man, it's going to be so powerful. I'm so excited about it. That's how we can create fortune for all of us on a planet as such. And I'm not going to talk about money right now, but it's probably the direct opposite of money, to actually feel fortunate, because money doesn't make you feel like you're rich. It can be a side effect of it, but even rich people can testify that it's the feeling that they are after. And if they haven't been able to generate that feeling for themselves, it's not the abundance of money or the lack of money that's going to change that feeling. You can have everything and you can still feel like an imposter. You can have nothing and you can still feel whole and complete. All right. Thank you for today. I'm going to stick to Instagram because yesterday I had a horrible time. The Instagram Facebook route is a one-way street. So I had a horrible time yesterday transferring from Facebook to Instagram. So from today onwards, we're sticking to Instagram. See you tomorrow. I love you so, so much.